And as of 2 Fridays ago, I'm now a multifamily investor. So that's kind of a win I wanted to share.
Nice.
Yeah.
Huge win, bro. What's up, deal makers? We just finished Ask Alex number 54. This was our virtual open house networking event. And Alex, these are my favorite, man. We get to, get everybody onto the screen, connect one-on-one with people, and really dive in, talk shop with some other investors. So what were your biggest takeaways from today, man?
Wow, that was an amazing webinar for open house, right? I love these as well because we get to just do like an open format, just everybody connecting. One of the big takeaways though is that we showed them a cold call that I had that had a successful outcome so they can all get better at their cold calling skills. Another big thing is that we have a couple of the tribe members. One of them recently bought a 12 unit. So he walked us through that. And then a bunch of stuff. So if you guys want to see the recap, trust me, you're going to get a lot of value from it. Let's go. Aloha. What's up, my deal makers? Aloha, everyone. We're going to get started here. We are doing a virtual open house, you guys. So we're going to get to know each other. Hope you guys have some questions and we can all cover what everybody's up to. So there's my man John in the back there, in my way. What's up, you guys? Yeah, we got one of our future flipper family here visiting. Get out of the way, bro. Get out of the way, please. Oh, I see my man Mikey is on. What's up, brother? Hope you enjoy the Grand Canyon. What's up, Will?
What's up, Camacho? Good to see you, sir. How you doing?
Excellent. Aloha. How are you? Is it cold over in LA? I hear it's been raining.
Yeah, man, we got a little rain out here. I think, you took the rain from the island and brought it back out here for us. So thank you for bringing those weather vibes, man.
You're welcome. The rain is needed to clean up those dirty streets of LA.
That is true. Dude, this is my favorite week. I know, every week we've done this, it just seems like we get better and better. But in all honesty, like these are my favorite weeks right here, because this is more of just like our Ask Alex. So as you guys know, we'll go through a brief kind of update right now. For those of you that are new, go ahead and use the chat down there if you don't mind in the bottom. Let everyone know like what market you're investing in, Instagram handle, where we can catch up with you, things like that. I see a lot of familiar faces right now in the attendee list, a lot of our usual guys. And I know this is like we said, the open house is usually kind of our more, relaxed, less structured, more of just kind of shoot the proverbial shit and see what's kind of going on, right, Alex?
Yeah, man. This is really just a meetup. Hey, a real estate investor meetup. It's virtual. What's up, you guys? What are you working on? What can I help you with? What can Will help you with? What questions do you have? What's everybody up to? What's it looking like for you in your real estate journey? Just casual, nothing too formal. I like these too because we can just open up and talk to everybody and see what everybody's up to.
Yeah, so let's before we get anybody else here on the screen, let's go ahead and give a quick update, kind of what's going on with you, Alex. Obviously for you guys that can't tell, this is the Maui pad that Alex has right now in his background. So Alex, you're definitely back in Maui. Give us a little bit of an update. What's kind of going on with you, man?
Yeah, so quick update. Last week on Thursday evening, I flew out, met you in Arizona in Phoenix. Actually, I think it was Tempe with Steve Trang's office. So we bought his sales course through the Ryan Pineda program. And I'm a huge fan of him. I've been watching his podcast. If you guys never watched Steve Trang's podcast, I don't know where you've been sleeping, but check it out. It's called Real Estate Disruptors. Put it in the chat, Will. And he has a fantastic podcast, great sales trainer. His partner is Max Jimenez. Man, that training was top shelf, man. Made me want to kind of go back into acquisitions, made me miss the hustle of making offers, or as they said, they don't make offers, they just buy property, right? But you have to attend the course or know what he's talking about. But that was awesome, right? And
yeah,
then
it was awesome.
afterwards,
like you said, like these are some of the biggest seller trainers out there in the game, right? And sometimes you might think like, man, do I really need to do this? Like, do I really need to be a guy that is, taking a training course or taking a mastermind? And we do it, right? Like regularly, we're buying houses, and we are still taking these trainings, still taking these courses. One thing I think before you go into the rest of your update is just like, Steve said at one point, sometimes we get so good as salespeople that we forget that you have to lead the horse to the water sometimes, right? You're almost just like, oh, I know what he's going to say. I know what he's going to say next. So I mean, like, I think, again, like taking these trainings, it's really the easiest way to get better, right? And Steve and Max are two of the best in the game. So yeah, it was great to go out and learn from those guys.
Yeah, and the golden nuggets were like the way they structure questions, the way they set the expectations. A lot of this stuff is stuff we've done, but when you're a lot more conscious about it, you're going to get better results. One of my big takeaways too, and I remember when I was cold calling for hours and hours and months, is that you get so good at cold calling that you're too polished, right? You look like that, you sound like that thirsty car salesman ready to close the deal, and you kind of take that human element out of it where nobody sounds that perfect. I remember I used to track my calls or listen to my calls, and I'm like, man, I sound a little too polished. Like I'd have to like make mistakes on purpose. It's a good problem, but it's a problem nonetheless, right? To get so polished that you're turning off certain prospects because they're like, man, this guy is a closer, this guy is a salesperson, right? And so that was a big takeaway for me. But also, we rented a house on Airbnb, and we got a little bit more room than we needed because we have seen that whenever we go to these events, people want to hang out afterwards, right? We digest all the content, all the information from the seminar or the course or the mastermind, but people just want to relax and hang out and still connect afterwards. So we were able to do that with a bunch of people from the attendants that were attending. And then we also got to host a couple of investors that came out that would just want to kind of go to our meetup that we were going to have. That's the next update. We had a multifamily meetup the following day on Saturday, which we had, I think, a little bit over 40 people attend. And although I am not, and I'll say this very clearly, I'm not the multifamily expert, but I am getting very serious. Will and I are currently locked into, and our other team member, Giuseppe, into a triplex that we're looking to take down. And so we're very bullish on the Phoenix market because we have a lot of contacts there. We've seen the upside. And then my buddy's basically flipping apartment buildings, right, Will? I mean, this guy's buying all types of units with him and his brothers, and they're taking them down, rehabbing them, putting them in, and flipping them, and then building.
Same thing we're doing, just with multifamilies, right? And I mean, one roof, multiple, units under one roof.
Yeah, and
washer and dryer, multiple washer and dryers, right? So I mean, it's a lot of parallels is what we saw when we were out there. And again, like some people might call that shiny object syndrome, but really in our mind, it's not. Like we're doing the same thing we're doing. We're just doing a little bit different. And I think when you have a friend group around you that supports you and partners that believe in you, which we have out there in the Arizona Valley area, I mean, it sets you up for the success that I think we'll be able to have out there. So
yeah, and I want to add to that is super valuable, my tribe members, my deal makers, to peek into the life and business of other successful people. Sometimes that costs money by paying for a mastermind. Other times it's just being proactive and asking for the help and wanting to connect and network with other people. But there's so much value to that because you get to see what's working for other people. Very, the nuts and bolts. You're like in the ring with them a little bit and seeing what they're doing. And so I think that's been super valuable for us. And we continue to tell people to do that because we have it all figured out. Yeah, we're flipping a lot of houses in LA. And we're doing a good amount of deals now in Hawaii, but we're still constantly learning and seeing what other people are up to. And I like what they're up to over there. Now, do I want to go flip a bunch of apartment buildings? Not necessarily, but I want to own a lot of apartment buildings. And to do that, and to see people that are acquiring them, that's being helpful for us on the acquisition side. And then also understanding values in a different market, such as Arizona, and where we fit into that. So I think that was huge to be able to get that high level view of what they're really doing, and then see how that might be applicable for us going forward. So, and then frankly, I like Arizona too, or Phoenix and Arizona, because like there's a lot of direct flights from Maui, there's direct flights to Guadalajara, there's obviously a lot of direct flights to LA. So it just fits, the fact that I want to be in the locations I'm investing, not necessarily just investing in the middle of nowhere or in states that I might never want to visit. That's just my personal preference. Everybody's different in their investing strategy. So that we did the meetup, flew back home on Monday, and been here in Maui. We got a couple of team members here now. A couple of interns, couple of team members that are helping out with getting the house finished. And also with this new project we have on the Big Island, we're going to be doing a flip on the Big Island. We'll be closing on that, I think, in the next week or so. So that would be, that's going to be fun. It's entry level. We're buying a house in Hawaii for $180,000. Hey, you know, that's the only island that you could buy houses for less than like really $300,000. So I think that's going to prove to us that we can do deals not only in Maui, but also in other parts of Hawaii. So that'd be great. And then really just got to the beach. I know it sounds like a first world problem, but got to the beach for the first time yesterday. The other times we've gone since the rain, it's been ugly, murky, just not good conditions, but finally got to hang out on the beach a little bit yesterday, which is what Maui's all about, man, beach time. So I'm happy. I'm ready to talk to these deal makers and see what everybody's up to.
Yeah, man. And I mean, another big piece of news, it looks like we just closed and recorded on that property up in California City on Proctor. So that was a long time in the making, but just got the email, and you know, that's always exciting as well. So good stuff there. Let's there we go. So there's another one in the books. Guys, I mean, like some of these properties, you know, you get them to the finish line, and this is one that I think we're really excited about. It's one that you know, we've been looking to buy for a little bit, just had a little bit of a delay on with a seller that was out of state, out of country. But again, those are just the hurdles that you deal with. And, you know, now there are different things that you learn and take from those deals. So Alex, why don't you go ahead and make me host? And then what we're going to do, guys, is usually on these open houses, you know, for those of you that are attending for the first time, that's exactly what this is it's going to be an open house. So we're going to go ahead and promote you guys all to panelists. And you guys can all share the screen with us here. And, you know, again, essentially, we're just, you know, acting like this is, you know, us going out here, and we're all just going to be able to kind of connect and, you know, get on if you have anything that's kind of holding you back, any big wins, any success stories, any failure stories that you want to share. You know, we love to kind of connect with you guys. And guys, this is, you know, I think some of the most important meetings that we do, right? This is, you know, your networking chance. This is when you can get, you know, on the screen here and let all 40 other people in the room, you know who you are, what it is you're struggling with, what it is that you need help with. And this is a room full of people that, you know, that's what investors do, right? We solve problems.
Yeah, I want to make a point about that real quick, guys, before anybody else jumps in, is that I was on a coaching call this morning. I'm an accountability coach, and you know, one of the things I think we have problems with is asking for help. And what I've noticed is some of the most successful people in this business are go ask for help, right? And are vocal and what their needs are. And I think I've been good at that. Now I'm getting better at that. But I think I've been good at that whether that's networking or that's, you know, I'm paying for a coaching program, and maybe the last coaching program that I paid for, I wasn't that vocal. I didn't really ask for help. So I didn't get that much out of that coaching program, right? And so I encourage you guys to be as vocal as possible with your questions and your concerns and your challenges, because that helps you. It's like a skill, really, like, hey, asking for help. And I don't mean like, hey, you know, like just for the smallest of things, but that you're constantly saying, hey, this is a real challenge for me right now. I'm going to see how 38, 39, whatever amount of people can help me with that. I'm going to throw it out there, and I'm going to be vulnerable a little bit and tell them this is my challenge. But just wanted to make sure that you guys are as vocal as possible, because we can't read your minds, and there might be someone in here in this room that can help you out. And if Will and I can't help you. Oh, what's up, Melvin?
Yeah, and again, I see a lot of familiar faces in here, guys. So feel free to chime in. Melvin, good to see you, brother. You know, let us know, guys. Like, is there anything that kind of came up this week? Anything you're fired up about or excited about, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
I have
I'll start.
Oh, go ahead, Melvin. Go ahead, Melvin.
All right, my bad, Ed. I first off, thank you, Alex. Thank you, Will, for hosting this event. To everyone, I just want to say what's going on, what's up. Want to introduce myself. My name's Melvin. Right now, super early in my real estate investor, you know, journey. So I think that just taking action every single day, obviously the cliche answer, that's really what I'm working with. I'm just trying to find more leads to more deals, get on the phones. I'm big on cold calling. So that's really like what I'm trying to work with, and just, you know, meet more people. So super thankful to meet all you guys today.
Yeah, Melvin. So are you cold calling every day yourself on a dialer, or what are you doing?
Yeah, all day. So I Yeah, so I'm literally cold calling, prospecting off Zillow. I was on Batch. I was doing a lot of texting as well. I haven't had the best success with that yet, but we're not giving up, and we're just continually just dialing people every single day. My full-time job, I'm a sales manager of a team where we do cold calling. So I have some familiarity with just sales in general, but I'm completely lost in terms of this industry. But we're getting there. We just started literally like a month or two ago. And I think the bottleneck right now is just generating more leads. Every lead to me is a good chance to find out more about the seller. But I've been focusing hard on wholesaling. I'm not really at that point yet for a full-on flip on my own. So just really trying to get the fundamentals down in terms of like finding deals and learning from people who've done great things. I know John's been super helpful. JT Invest, shout out to JT. And I'm just trying to learn more. So
Yeah,
here.
sure. Well, I know that you, if you have any other more specific like questions, have we sent him any of the cold call training that we've done internally and or stuff that we can give him access to?
Yeah, I was gonna say I'll make sure that we send some of those over, and the big thing I took right there, Melvin, is like you're still going, right?
Yeah.
Dude, like Alex, how long did it take me to get my first deal?
3 months. Me too.
Dude,
Yeah.
like we were sitting there and we were like, bro, are you moving back from Hawaii to help me do this? Like, you're like, no, bro, you've been on the appointments, like you're so close, like
You got this.
and it's like, man, I mean, sometimes you just think you're hitting a wall, but like, dude, you really do have to just like keep taking the daily action, keep being, consistent with those daily actions, and the results are going to come. It just takes some time sometimes, to get that system figured out, to figure out the leads, to figure out who manages it. We talked about this too. Like sometimes you're really good at the call, but not so much with the close, right?
Yeah.
And sometimes it's vice versa. Sometimes you're just like, hey man, give me the close. I really don't have time for the calls in between. And so, figure out where that is for you and what you can do with your business to streamline it. But keep going, man, and make sure we connect offline, and I'll send you over some clips and some stuff like that.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
for sure. Couple things I'll say about the cold calling. It really is a grind. There's nobody I've ever met really can say they love cold calling, right? Even if you're good at it. But what I will say about the cold calling is that it helps you with speaking to other, like being in other sales situations, right? Where you're talking to an agent. Maybe you're not, it's not the same thing, right? But it just you're constantly pitching, you're constantly selling. So there's a lot of value to that. And there'll be sometimes 2-3 days in a row, Melvin, that I would not even one good lead. My goal was always just to get one solid, motivated seller lead every single day. And then I knew over like 2-3 weeks, then I would have, a couple dozen, maybe a dozen or so of good leads, because it isn't really like, it isn't realistic to expect that you're going to get like, 5-10 hot cold call leads every single day. And then also, it might take 2-3 months to actually land a deal. So just like with, let's say, marketing, for example, if you were doing, I don't know, internet advertising, and you're trying to figure out how much it's going to cost you to get one deal from that acquisition source. What I mean by that is, so if it takes 3 months and you're paying this much in data, you're paying that much, how much are you really willing to invest to get that one deal? So, okay, for us, we've seen that really that can take sometimes $10,000, right? But we're willing to spend $10,000 on one acquisition strategy over 2-3 months to get that deal is going to make it 50. That's a 5X, right? So looking in terms of that, it's a little bit also easier to like go through the grunt work of cold calling consistently. And then also a big thing is listening to your calls. I mean, every single night I would listen to every single call that was over 1 minute. I'm not saying that you're not doing that, Melvin, but it's just a lot of value to that, because you're like, damn, I thought that was a good call, but I missed this opportunity to ask this question. I missed this. I didn't notice this. I could have said this. And then you start getting so good, like I mentioned earlier, that you're like, damn, you sound too polished. And so, I think there's a lot of value for not only you, maybe you don't need it because you're a sales manager, but maybe you need to be, listening to the people that are calling for you, or just, or listening to your calls a little bit more consistently than you are now, just to see if there's something that you need to tweak or anything. But we'll send you what we got, and hopefully that helps.
Appreciate that.
And that's what I do, man, is my cold caller every day sends me a recap email with his top call that he thinks he's like, dude, I crushed it on this call. then a call that he thinks he could improve on, and then a call that he thinks he bombed on. And so he sends me all three of those. And that's, again, now he's listening to him. He has to think through which one he's going to send. And then we listen to it together and kind of see like, hey man, how can we improve on these calls next time? So you're a little bit better prepared or in a better position to take down the deal, right?
Yeah, I have one quick question. I know there's a lot of people in here and, I want to give time to everyone else. But the question I have, I don't know if anyone's dealing with this specifically. I know, Alex, you kind of touched base on it a little bit. But my strategy has been, I just have a giant list, absentee list, just going through it. I'm sending like 500 text messages a day and just trying to figure out my barometer in terms of like how many of these leads turn into just warm leads per day that I can get. Right. I know I've kind of gone a couple of weeks here without a deal, and I won't stop. I'm going to keep going and going and going. That's definitely my personality. But at what point do you guys kind of look at the numbers, the marketing that you're spending, and you're saying, okay, maybe I need to adjust what I'm doing? Should I keep going in terms of blasting out these texts and just being consistent with 500 a day? Or what are your thoughts with all that? And that's my last question.
You want to get that, Will, or you want me to?
We talk about it all the time. We double down on what's working. So, I mean, like if it's getting you leads and you've converted on those leads in the past, then double down on what's working. I mean, you need leads to get to those opportunities. If you get to a point where, your budget is tapped out, I'll tell you this month alone, I took down 3 or 4 deals off the MLS. These were just deals that, maybe nobody else had sent an offer over on. Last night we had a good laugh. Alex, was laughing at this house I got under contract. He was like, "Will, you did not get this shed under contract." And I was like, "No, dude, it's a house. It's a 2-1." He was like, "It's a shed."
A fucking shed. It's in the shed in the desert.
And I said, "No, man, it's looking untitled. It's a house, bro. Like I'm telling you." And our guy's pretty fired up. Like he's gonna go drive out and see it. And he was like, "Shut up." And then he starts doing the numbers, and he's like, "Oh man, like." This thing might have something on it, and it's like, just found it on MLS. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But I mean, like they're out there. So, just keep that in mind. Like if it's creating you leads and you've converted off those leads, like, probably worth it to keep trying. But if you have not converted off the leads, then you either need to recheck your system and see what is a lead. Alex, when we went out to the Brian Pineda mastermind, right? Scott Oots did it one way. Kong did it another. Kong was like, as soon as you answer the phone and you're like, "Yes, this is John," he was like, "Boom, this is a lead. Like that's John, that's his address, give him a call back." And that goes to a lead manager. Scott Oots was like completely the opposite. He was like, "No, they're going to, ask 3 or 4 questions and then that's a lead." Both of them are doing, over $5 million in wholesales this year. So there's no right way to skin a cat, but, make sure that you understand your lead funnel and where the funnel comes and where it needs to, drop into the next chain, the next person down the list.
Yeah. So let me give you my 2 cents on that question, Melvin, because I think it's a great question. Number one, I want to say super clearly, like we are not the direct to seller experts. And the reason I say that is because we've tried it, right? We've tried the texting, we've tried the cold calling, we've tried, it just really hasn't hit for us. And so we do it very strategically now, just kind of like, okay, we're cold calling, but just like very niche lists. We're sending some text messages, but we're only texting agents that were investors looking for deals in SoCal and Hawaii. So I think it's difficult to get the direct to seller system all dialed in. And I think it's hard to have both like the MLS and the networking, the social media and the direct to seller, kind of all dialed in. And what we saw in our business, we're like, hey, look, it looks like we're getting deals through our networking, through wholesale, through wholesalers, through social media, through MLS. These are the areas that we're doing better on. So let's double down on that. So that's what we've done. So we really don't do a lot of direct to seller because it hasn't really hit for us in Southern California. Now in Hawaii, it's done a little bit better. I mean, I'm sitting in this house because this is driving for dollars a lead, direct to seller. So it does work, but don't also be married to that. Oh, I have to get, because I made that mistake where like the first year when I was on my own, like a year and a half ago, 2 years, I was like, no, I got to get this direct to seller campaign going, like deep discounts. Like I have to do that. But then when I joined the Ryan Pineda coaching program and he looked at the whole business, like, look, bro, you're spending like $7,000 a month and you're not getting any real ROI consistency with that, but you're really good at social media, you're good at networking, you're good at MLS. Like, why don't you just double down on those things that you've already proven to have success with? And then we did that. And then, you know, we still do direct to seller, but just we don't focus that much on it because it hasn't been a strength for us, but everybody's different. But so I just can't sit here and do this, Melvin, and do that. We're just really not that great at it. And I think it takes a certain skill set, you know, reviewing the data and then, you know, the KPIs and then testing. You got to have a solid budget. Like, you have to spend thousands of dollars on the marketing to see what works. And you have to be willing to lose money on marketing to see what works in your market, direct to seller. And unless you're trying to do that, then I wouldn't do it. So that's kind of my 2 cents on that. Any feedback on that?
No, it resonated. So thank you so much. Appreciate it, guys.
All right, who else got some questions or wants to?
What's up, guys?
What's up, Randy in LA?
What's up, Alex? Will, JT, met you at the meetup. Ulysses, what's up, guys? I have a question, but I want to quickly topic on the cold call still, because I'm a real estate agent in Los Angeles. I used to cold call myself, outsourced it with VAs and whatnot. But one thing I learned as well is we had a VA sent me a lead. I called the guy. They said they wanted 1.1 with projects, plans, XYZ. I caught him on a bad day. He was pissed off. I called him the week or two after. He's like, yeah, give me 900 offer. It's yours. We're locking it up. So it's like, if you catch someone on a bad day, but they give you a number, that means they want to sell. So if you caught them on a bad day, just follow up with it, you know, because kind of what Will was saying is it's still a lead. They own property, they own the home, and it's absentee, so they're not even there, and all those factors. So it's like, don't give up just because someone gives you a ridiculous number. You know, just follow up with them, because you catch them on a good day, you catch them in a situation, life happens, things change. Now they're a seller that's going to be more serious. My question was, though, in regards to with the cold calling and whatnot, it's kind of similar to Melvin's question is, after you've called or followed up with a lead XYZ times and you either can't get through to them again, or contact was made at some point, but then it isn't, when do you kind of just move on from that and push to or spend time elsewhere?
Dude, so I mean, like, we were just out at Steve's training, right? And I mean, he flipped the game on it, right? He doesn't care about condition. He doesn't really care about any of that stuff, right? His callers are looking for 2 things: pain and equity. Why do you think those matter?
They're more likely to sell.
Well, equity means that if you were going to sell, that you have enough meat on the bone that you can give an investor an opportunity to take this thing down. If you owe 200,000 and you need 210,000, it doesn't matter how ugly the house is. Like, you need 10K to walk, and that's that. And you know, that's what's left there. So the other part is the pain, right? So if you needed that 100, and if you needed out of that 210, let's say 170, and you needed it in a week because you have a concurrent transaction that's closing somewhere, then you may be willing to let that house go and give some more of that equity up. And that's what we're looking for, right? So, you know, really the condition of the property, it's like, it doesn't matter if the property's in really bad condition, but you have no motivation to get out of there, there's no real pain, then you're probably going to stick there. So, I mean, like, that's the way that I look at them, right? And a lot of the leads that come up to me, because I manage, you know, most of our leads underneath us, is, you know, one of our guys will come up and say, hey, Will, this, and this. And I'll be like, okay, so why are they selling the house? And I'll be like, I don't know. And I'm like, well, then it's, I mean, yeah, I mean, this looks like an awesome candidate to be a lead, but unless we know why he would need to sell the house, we might be out of luck. So Alex, you have anything you want to keep in mind? Like, each person's technique is their own technique. So, you know, we're not saying that the pain and equity is the only way to go. But again, just like I was saying to you, Melvin, like, understand your funnel, understand how you're looking at things and how you're going about it.
Yeah, sorry guys, my gardener just got here. This guy's going to be pretty loud, but I want to say something really important about this, is that for me, it was always like motivation, because my mentor would always be like, well, same thing like you said, like, why does he want to sell? And if I didn't have a clear reason, like why this person wanted to sell, then it wasn't really a lead. So for me, like, to qualify something as a lead, it's I have to be reaching the person that can make the decision to sell the property. And they have to have some clear reason for them wanting to sell the property, right? And then, so I'm really looking for motivation, but keep in mind, if it's a cold call, the motivation might be very personal. Like, oh, I'm getting divorced. This lady, my wife just cheated on me, a couple months ago. I'm selling the house. You're Brandon. I don't know who the fuck you are. Why would I tell you this? Like, so, that's why you do need to kind of build some rapport and follow up, because if there's I read a marketing book where it said like, they have to have like a bleeding neck, right? This is pain. But like, I think Steve gave the example where he said, like, if you have an emergency, you cut your finger off, by accident, are you going to look on all the reviews, like to hospitals nearby, or are you just going to go to the hospital? Like, you have a real situation. And that's kind of, I know that's kind of extreme, but that really is what you're looking for. Like, you didn't call them and all of a sudden convince them to sell. I've never bought a house from somebody that made a cold call that didn't already have the underlying motivation. So don't ever try to make it up. Yeah, there is some follow-up for sure. Like, hey, something is happening, but the reality is most times when you're finding deals through cold calling is because you called enough people, you're good enough on the phone, and you came across somebody that actually does need to sell their property and would consider an offer. That's, the formula. It isn't like you just say these magic words and then all of a sudden they have motivation. So don't ever forget, you guys, that you really need to find, like he says, pain. For me, it's motivation. It's kind of the same thing. There's a clear reason that they would need to sell their property. Yep. Or clear property.
Edward, to your question, man, I mean, like, that's how we get them out of the funnel, right? Is like, if there's no real motivation, then it's like, yeah, man, you do have an old crappy house. Like, that is true. Like, we both can agree on that. I drove by, I door knocked, I did the driving for dollars, we pulled your list, your name, but unless there is that true motivation, I think that's really our number one kind of qualifier at this point. And what we call it is pulling the offer off the table, right? You're just saying like, look, man, like, this is it. We're pulling it off. And I'll tell you why that is, guys, is because if it comes down to price, do you think my price is going to be higher than other people's? Nope. They call me low ball wall. They call me that for a reason, right? Like that's our joke around the office, right? So like, I'm not the prettiest. I'm not going to have the highest offer. Why people are going to buy houses from us is because the last 10 houses that somebody brought to us that had meat on the bone, that was a quality project, that was a flip, what do? We bought it, we performed. And so that's what we can do, is if you have a house and you need somebody to perform on it, we can do that. If you need somebody to do that in 14 days and you don't want to have anybody come to the house, no worries, we'll buy it. That's fine. We don't need an inspection. You give us that right price, we can make that happen. And so that's what we're in the business of.
I got an idea. I have a recorded call on one of my best cold calls that turned into a deal that made $100,000. Let's listen to it right now, because I think it's been a while since I have actually shared this, and I'm happy to email it to you guys. Just, let me know. And then you guys could see, just let's listen to it. It's like 5 minutes, but I think it's totally worth it because we're going down this thread. See here. Yeah, this is good. Let's see.
Can we post it in the Facebook group?
Yeah, I'm happy to do that. This is okay. So it's a little bit of older call, but let's just bring it up right here. Let me see. Hold on a second. Hold on.
Hello.
Gotta share sound. Okay. Can you guys confirm with the thumbs up that you could hear this?
Hello.
Hello. Hi.
Hello.
Hi. Good afternoon. Is this Mr. Dorfman?
Yes.
Oh, hi, Mr. Dorfman. My name is Alex speaking. The reason for the call is I'm looking for a client that's looking for property in Canoga Park, West Hills area. I wondered how open would you be in maybe reviewing an offer for your property on Cohasset?
If you want to lowball it, I'm not interested. But if sure.
Well, what do you mean by lowball? As far as do you have a certain price in mind that you would consider or have thought about?
Yeah, I thought about 350.
350?
Yep.
Okay. And what can you tell me as far as the interior? Because I can look into it, and that sounds might be reasonable.
Okay.
What could you tell me about the interior?
The house has 2 bedrooms and 2 other rooms on the other side of the house, which are not considered bedrooms because they don't have closets. What I'm planning on doing if the current renters move out is just add 2 closets and make it a 4-bedroom. There's also a large central room, which is, I guess they use as a living room, dining room area. and the kitchen and bath. That's it.
Okay, so you currently have it rented, though, right?
Yes, it is currently rented.
Got it. So, 2 bedrooms. Okay.
2 bedrooms officially, yes.
Officially. I'm going to look into also the zoning of the property as well to see if there could be anything done with that. Do you know?
I'm pretty sure it's available for that. Yeah. Well, like I said, it's my plan. So if I can do it, you can do it.
Yeah.
I haven't, taken out any permits on it, so I can't tell you for sure. So check it out yourself, and
Right.
if you find out differently, let me know, because I'm planning on expanding it if I don't sell it.
Right. Doing addition and such. Okay. That
Yeah,
makes
I mean,
sense.
2 closets, I figure, are a pretty simple addition.
Right. And what about the condition of the roof? How would you rate that? Is there any leaks or anything?
I've owned the house for 6 years. There's never been a leak.
Okay. Okay. Sounds good. And then one more thing, plumbing. Do you know if that's copper?
I don't know.
Okay. And one last thing then. So
honestly, I would doubt it.
now, why would you want to sell? Is it just is it a good time to sell, or do you have a specific reason you might consider it?
You called me, so if I can turn it over, that's fine. If I can't, I'll continue renting it. I'm making a profit on it, so that's good for me too. Either way.
Right. Well, I'm just coming across some owners that will say, hey, my house worth $400. I'll give me $500 and I'll sell it. But I mean, that doesn't really make sense, for us. And so
Sure.
it has to be somewhat of a reasonable deal, because I can just
Okay.
look on the MLS and just find any deal like that. You know what I mean? That's
Mhm.
why we'd rather work with an owner directly and see if we could work out a win-win.
Sure.
This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to go ahead and look at the area a little bit more. My office is in Burbank. I should be able to get back to you about it today and see if there's anything we can do. But $350, do you see yourself taking any less than that at all? I mean, there's no real estate commissions involved. This would be an all-cash offer.
Make me an offer.
Okay, fair enough. Okay, I'm going to look into it, and then I'll give you a call back. I appreciate your time, okay?
Okay.
Okay, so I know we have to talk about, but the first thing, you see the motivation was there already. I didn't create it. Number 2, I knew my numbers. So the minute he said 350, I'm like, this is the deal, or at least very close to the deal, because I knew my numbers, right? And then, so any feedback on that, guys? That we're gonna upload that to the Facebook group so you guys can listen to. But that's what calling somebody and then not messing it up. I wasn't perfect, but I got the motivation, got his number, asked him if he would take even lower, and covered a lot in that initial call, which ended up being again a deal that made my previous my first mentor $100,000 in profit, and I made $2,500. Yeah, so pay your dues, guys. Any questions? Any anything feedback on that call?
Hey, Alex, I just want to, man, this is so valuable, man. Just want to highlight, initially he said, yeah, I'm open to it, but I don't want to lowball. And then you did a great job in redirecting that. Hey, let's explore that. You said, what do you mean by lowball? Do you have a price in mind? So I think that was really super key, which disarmed them right away. And just one last thing that I noticed is, you were talking in your downswing. You were downswinging a lot. There's not a lot of doubt. Hey, do you want an offer? You want an offer? You were really certain that you're a professional. You're from Burbank, and you're a straight shooter. So I appreciate you just sharing this. Not only to me but to the group. Very valuable, bro.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, I would talk very calmly, because otherwise I would get real, that's me naturally. I'm very energetic, but I have to really just, when I'm on the phone, just be present. You have to be present. And that way you can adapt to whatever person that you get on that line. You don't know if you're going to get some alpha male, macho guy, or some really old lady that's in foreclosure. You got to be able to be a chameleon on the phone.
That was awesome, Alex. I liked how your personality on the phone is a different, Alex than what we see in front of us now. So that was awesome.
Yeah, thank you, Randy. All right, guys. Well, we'll upload that to the Facebook group. Just wanted to share that. We were talking all about cold calling. I was like, hey, I just recently came across that call again. I'm like, hey, maybe share it. It's been a while. Anybody else have any questions or anything else you guys want to cover? We still got 20 minutes.
Yeah, I know a couple people, at the beginning kind of looked like they had some feedback they needed. So anybody else, now's the time.
I got something. So,
Yeah.
hey guys, I'm Randy. I live in downtown LA, and I've been flipping houses in Chicago for the past year. And as of 2 Fridays ago, I'm now a multifamily investor. So that's kind of a win I wanted to share.
Nice.
Yeah.
Huge win, bro.
Awesome, thanks. So it's a 12 unit, and actually my property management team is actually a little bit backed up with their in-house contractor. So if anybody has or knows of any contractors or good handymen in the Northwest Indiana area, like Gary Hammond, let me know. And then I've also recently been working with the Milk House Investors team, Renee and Ed, working and helping them with like some operations and procedures and that kind of stuff. So if anybody has any like flip SOPs and stuff like that they can share, I would appreciate it. Please let me or them know. My Instagram is in the chat if you want to reach out to me.
All right.
Yeah, and be a little bit more specific, Randy. Like, what kind of systems are you looking for? What are you building out? Like, what kind of specific help do you need? Because that's the stuff that is really able to help other people with. Like, hey, like, dude, you know what? I actually just built out my calling system.
Yeah.
Or if you need help with that, I would say like Melvin would be a good guy. But give us a little bit more. Like, what system is it specifically you're looking to build?
Yeah, sure. So it basically in working with them for like the past week, they need help with basically all of their systems. So definitely from an acquisition perspective, they're just recently like building out their team. So their processes right now in terms of finding and keeping track of deals and doing the follow-up and making sure that people on the team are either following up on evaluating or analyzing the properties, submitting offers and all that kind of stuff. That's still like very much like in the works. So that's one component. And then in terms of onboarding a property, once we have it under contract. So a lot of the stuff that they do, it's in like Ed and Renee's as like heads. And so just putting that down on paper and documenting, those processes, obviously it's stuff that, we can sit down and spend a whole weekend, brainstorming and documenting, but, there's tons of flippers, around the world. And, I'm sure a lot of this stuff is already documented and people have it handy. So if, anybody has any,
I think a big thing for us has been, just following the traction model and the rocket fuel. Have you guys really dug deep on that? The traction, the book?
I haven't. I don't know if they have.
I would talk to them about that because if you're gonna be helping them with SOPs and stuff like that. That's a fantastic book. It's basically an operating manual, and it ties in very well with real estate investing and wholesaling. Okay. So I would definitely encourage you to like pick up that book. And we
use it every week, right? Like we do
what is it called?
Monday team meeting that every Monday is on that.
Traction. Okay.
Traction by Gino Wickman. I'll put it in here in the chat. But let me see, Gino Wickman.
He has the IDS theory, which is like, part of his. He does a couple of other different kind of components, and again, we use it weekly on our end. And it was one of the first books that Alex recommended for me to read and really helped me kind of build out a lot of our systems here on our end.
Yeah, because it helps you really build out the organizational chart, and then just have a really lot more structure. And it helped to put the light to me the fact that like I failed a lot in my past because I haven't had an integrator like Will as a counterpart that could help me with the details. I'm not a detail-oriented person, therefore there's things that I miss. But I have other areas that are strengths, so I want to work on those. So I think that by reading that book or kind of trying to use that operating manual, you could kind of see with regard to Renee and Ed, like what they do well, and then where you fit into that, and how you could design some more systems, because every investment company is a little bit different in how you guys can operate. And then if I don't want to switch gears yet, but I have a couple of people that I know that are in Indiana. I just don't know if they're in that part. So I'll see. I'll check with that, and then I'll send you a message on that. But I definitely think that that traction, and then also they're in the Future Flipper All-Star program, So perhaps they can give you access to some of the stuff to help with the systems that maybe they don't have time to get, into the nitty gritty and the details. So I would talk to them about that as well.
Yeah, great. Yeah, they've shared a couple of that, some of the content that they got from that program, with me. I mean, I have a lot of experience with processes and operations from a marketing and business perspective, but applying that to the real estate side is relatively new. So that's what I'm helping them figure out. So thanks, guys.
Yeah, you got it, dude.
Two big things on that is record everything and then push team members to bring ways of improving every week. So every week on our Monday meeting, we have a issues to resolve. And that's where we empower the people on our teams to let us know, like, hey, Will, you know what? I send you this report every day and it freaking sucks. Like, it takes me an hour and I have to do this and this. And like, then I tell them, like, you know what's really cool about that report? I actually have never looked at it. I just let them know, like, that report doesn't really help me connect any of my dots that I'm trying to do. So if that alleviating that helps you, thank you for bringing that. And then what are we going to do to replace that? Or how are we going to, okay, cool. We can replace all that with a 5-minute phone call where once a week we hop on a call and you let me know, boom, boom, boom. And instead of you having to type up this email and, put it into this little, Excel spreadsheet, like, boom, that really helps us. Right. So I think those are the ones that you're looking for is like record the things that you're actively doing. That way the people after you get to see how you did it. And that's your training right there. And then again, just whenever you can, try to bring in other people's feedback, because it's not our system. It's not Alex's system. It's not mine. It's our team's system and how our team operates. And you need team input and feedback to make sure that it works well.
Yep. Great.
Yeah. Do they have a level 10 meeting? You guys have one every week?
Yeah, we actually just started one yesterday, and we did exactly that. So, everyone was, brought their challenges and opportunities and solutions. And so, yeah, we had a great meeting, yesterday. We just started it.
Okay. Who's taking notes for that meeting to recap it?
I believe Ed is. So, that actually needs to be clearer, but Ed,
that's been a big thing. We have our VAs on the meeting, and then their job is just to take notes and to make sure that they send a recap email afterwards. So
or really, Randy, your job should be to take notes. So like the first couple meetings, I took notes. That way I understood all the different pieces of the business because I was taking the notes on it, right?
Yep.
And then I started going, okay, cool. These are the things that I can delegate to other people. And then I said, you know what? Now I don't need to take the notes because I already know, each piece of the business and what's going to happen in those. And now I can just focus on, helping the people get through those humps and through those hurdles instead of, typing them out. Right. But I do recommend that you do it the first couple of weeks so that, like, hey, this is how you want it done and how you want it sent out.
Yeah. Good suggestion. Thank you.
Cool.
Anyone else have a win? Doesn't have to be, something you need help with. Antonio, you have something?
Alex or Will.
Cool.
Yeah. Hey, just want to say hi. Good to see you guys. Finally getting settled into Nashville here and been starting to connect with different realtors and looking at different BRRRR deals outside of Nashville and in the Memphis area. So yeah, just wanted to shout out, say hi. Good to see you guys again. Really appreciate that you guys have kept these going.
Lee, what's up, buddy? I'm glad that you're getting settled in Nashville. If we ever make it out that way, we'll go.
Yeah, man, please do. Yeah, it's I was supposed to be back in LA this past week, but unfortunately tested positive for the Rona, so I've been in quarantine recovering.
Oh,
you're young. Feel better soon, man.
You're young.
Hey, if you don't mind, Ali, would you mind sharing a quick recap or recording a video or something in the Facebook group with just like, what your process looks like for analyzing a BRRRR out there, just so, anybody else in the room, would you guys be interested to see how he's kind of analyzing a BRRRR deal in Tennessee? Cool. I see a couple of hands. Yeah. That'd be awesome.
I've been working with a realtor who's been sending me deals. So I definitely need to dial in my process again. I've definitely gotten rusty over the past few months of trying to get settled in with this move, but it's more so just getting kind of, committing more time each day, getting back into the routine. So just wanted to shout out, say, hey, and good to be back, getting my mindset here.
Solid, man. And good to see you too, brother. Hope you recover well and a speedy recovery. Right. John is asking, what's the level 10 meeting? So guys, our level 10 meeting is from the Traction book, right? So Traction does a level 10 meeting, which is everybody at the level 10 of your organization. So that's, that's everybody, right? It's an all hands on deck meeting. It's everybody who's available is there. I've heard some people go as far as closing the door at 10 o'clock, if or 9 o'clock if you're not in the room, and you miss out on the info from that week, and it kind of sucks. But yeah, it's our all hands on deck meeting. Everybody shows up, everybody participates, everybody gives feedback, everybody has deliverables, everybody has things that they're looking for. And it's a big part of the Traction book and their kind of, like Alex said, their core teaching philosophy that they go over.
Yeah, so I think we could upload something to the Facebook group with that. I know I have some like a kind of roadmap for it. I'm trying to find it right now in my email, but I can't find it right now. But yeah, I don't want to share the level 10 meeting notes for us because it's a kind of some internal documents here or internal notes that we can't really share. But
yeah, but if anything, we'll find a little snippet on it or something.
There's like a forum that shows the kind of the outline of the level 10 meeting that will help everybody out. So I'll upload that today.
Sounds good.
Check that out.
I got a real quick question for Alex. Is my audio on? Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, what's up, bro?
Awesome. So I have a couple of years of cold calling experience. I've been on the phones for many years, understand the whole process, and I feel like that's one of my strengths. What I noticed about your call, even after the call, is you saying that once he said 350, you knew that you had a great deal, even in your hands, that you even had time to negotiate. What are the best strategies, best ways to find the ARV? Because I'm having very similar calls to that, but I feel like my biggest issue is knowing that I have a home run, or I have, I'm doing the basics through ARV, like based on square footage, 5%, 10%, or things along those lines, like how much it's going to be to fix it up. But like, what are some quick ways that while you're on the phone, that you are even seen success, or prior to being on the phone, find the ARV to know you have a home run?
Are you giving the ARV to the seller or what? Or you just need to know?
I just need to know, so I know like what I know is a home run.
Got it.
Like 350, I know I have room to potentially find a buyer and wiggle room for, for myself or whatever the case may be. Someone offers me something specific, I don't know that 350. I think that's the biggest thing. I think I could have had a very similar call to you, Alex, but you knew that 350 was a home run where I wouldn't have known that.
Okay, well, I'll swing the question back to you, Randy, which is, how well do you know your market? That was because I knew my market, and I've looked at, at that point, probably thousands of listings to understand my market. Like, are you doing the same to understand your market?
So like Melvin, I'm new to the game. I'm about 2 months in, and I feel like my strength is the cold calling part. It's learning the market. So that's why I'm asking some good strategies to even just practice finding ARV.
Yeah. So what I would do, one of the things that I did early on to understand values across my territory, because whoever knows Southern California, I mean, it's a large geographic area. It's huge with so many different price points. So what I would do is we knew kind of what areas were pretty hot. So every zip code around there. So let me just do this real quick. Let me just share my screen.
And guys, I mean, while he's getting his screen share up, I'll tell you too, like when I first started, I'd be like, Alex, like, how do you know? And he was like, look up deals. And then I found out, like, put it this way, if you saw a home for sale in Beverly Hills, you've never been to Beverly Hills in your life, but if you saw a home in Beverly Hills for a 500,000, would you think that's a deal?
Yeah, common sense.
That's a home run, right? Okay. So I mean, like, now if you saw a Porsche for sale for $50,000, would you think that's a home run? Yeah, because you know the value of a Porsche. A Porsche is worth 100 grand, right? So if you saw one for 50, that's because you have that knowledge of a Porsche market. Same thing if you saw a Rolex for 50K, you'd be like, hey man, I don't know, is that a deal? Well, yeah, if that same Rolex is selling for 100 grand, then you have a deal on your hand because you know the value of a Rolex. So this is what Alex showed me, is each pocket in LA has different values, right? Break this down, Alex. And this is what map is it we're looking at?
So this is zipmap.net. It's a very simple free website that you can look at zip codes. What I usually would use it for is, so I would go on MLS, and if you don't have access to MLS, you could do this on Redfin, or it's like you just go and you just see the inventory that's happening, like all the closed sales in the last 90 days. And I mean, I'm talking about like single family, the type of properties that you're going to be working on. For us, it was like single family, a certain size. So I would do all the filters and I would run comps in the last 90, 60 days. And I would just literally spend hours looking at each listing, reading the description, looking at the pictures, understanding this is your product, Randy. If you're going to get good at deal making, you need to know values across a pretty big area. And then another thing I would do is once I started getting a little more advanced in doing deals, and I'm like, hey man, I keep noticing that this zip code over here, I think it was 90032, is like, even though I grew up in LA, like I don't know this zip code that well. So then I just went out there one Friday, drove for 2-3 hours, got familiar with that. And I understand now, hey, if I'm on this side, it's much more superior compared to this side. It's much more inferior. You got to get that fucking granular, because like if you get on the phone call, you have an opportunity, like you need a bit of a jump on that opportunity. Speed wins deals. So just spending the time, investing your time into understanding, and to me, I found that zip codes just are kind of the easiest because they're kind of universal. Now, a lot of things can vary in a zip code, but if you know, kind of generally speaking, hey, the top end of this zip code is about 600,000. So if you talk to a seller and they're like, hey, I want 600,000, you know, they're pretty high on that end. But if they're, they say they willing to take 475, like, I didn't know that was a deal. I just knew it was close to a deal. Like ARV was low fours, mid fours. So when he said 350, I'm like, shoot, I got $50,000 to $100,000 margin. It's a small house, probably doesn't need that much. I just talked to him on the phone. That's why I knew it was a deal. Not because I knew exact ARV. I just knew a general ARV. And I knew that by knowing my neighborhoods and knowing across all of Southern California. If you give me a zip code and you give me a size of a square footage of a house across almost all of Southern California, I can tell you an ARV within about $15,000 to $20,000. And so you need to build that muscle and that understanding of value across your territory. And that's one way to do it, looking at listings and then going to neighborhoods and understanding different pockets that you're going to be investing in if you're not virtual. Yeah.
And Alex said it right there too, right? There's a cap, right? So when I was first starting, I'd be like, dude, I think I got a deal over here. This thing has an ARV of 700K in Compton. And Alex was like, I don't know, man, like 700K in Compton, somebody might just take that 700K and go to Long Beach or Southgate or Gardena, right? Like they have enough to get to that, same with like Sun Valley. Like, are you going to buy a $1.2 million house in Sun Valley? Probably not. Like Sun Valley has that cap.
Randy.
You know that.
Give me a zip code, Randy, of where you're looking at.
Do you know Jersey?
No, just give me any zip code. It doesn't matter.
07726.
Okay, cool. So, so obviously like this, you got this zip code, zip code. Look at all these zip codes. Like, I mean, it's going to take you some time, brother. You're only 2 months in, but I mean, this is, once you know this information, once you have this knowledge, like it'll be applicable, and all you're doing is updating. Like every month or two, I'm looking at the zip codes. I still do it to this day, actually, where I'm just like, hey, let me see what's going on, because Will call me with the deal. I'm like, man, that sounds high for that area. Then I'll look at the numbers. I'm like, damn, dude, some new comps, like values have increased in this area. All right, cool. Like you're right. Like we need to be here. So just, but also I would start with the most active zip codes. Don't start with the ones that are like the, the high end, or the ones that maybe you're maybe random or a little bit out of the, out of the way area, out of the way. I would start with the hottest zip codes and just really dive deep, dude. That's what I would do for you.
Also, the other thing to keep in mind, and we mentioned this before, Randy, is ARVs change, right? The ARV is the after repair value. So it's not really about knowing the ARV, it's about knowing what values in your neighborhood are and what they aren't, because I could decide to blow your ARV out of the water by putting in all gold finishes and all, I could do a bathroom lined in platinum, and, platinum is expensive as hell. And you'd be like, well, why'd you do that? And I'd be like, well, because I'm rich and I want a platinum bathroom. My ARV is now significantly different than yours because I chose different repair materials to do that. So, and going back to Compton, you wouldn't repair a home in Compton with gold and platinum, right? Because the ARV is going to cap out. Now, a home in Beverly Hills, you very well might, because that is going to increase the value, and there might be buyers that are there that would appreciate those finishes. And so keep that in mind as well, right?
Yeah. And then when he hit me up, and that was a real scenario, and he hit me up with like ARV 700 in Compton, I was like, look, bro, either it's a duplex or it's a really big single family house to have an ARV of 700, because I know it that well. So just spend the time, man. There's no quick way around it. You can use these tools, prop stream and but there's no substitution on knowing your market intimately. Yeah.
Thank you.
Oh, good question, guys. I think we're up on our hour. Any last questions?
One question.
Yep.
Hey guys, I'm new here, but I appreciate all the content you guys are dropping. So I'm currently flipping right now, and sometimes I do get approached from people that want to like invest. I've used hard money for all my flips, so I'm just wondering if you guys know a way that maybe I can structure a deal where it would make sense for me and then maybe the private investor instead of using hard money.
Okay. So a couple things there. It depends on the purchase price and the hard money and the private money people. So for example, we use private money in two different ways. Sometimes if it's in the lower purchase price, we invest a lot in Antelope Valley, you guys kind of know, which is Palmdale, Lancaster, California City, and those kind of desert areas of Los Angeles County. And so we can buy a house there potentially for $150,000, $200,000, or Will likes to buy sheds in the middle of nowhere, but you get my point. It's a lower purchase price. And then so we can potentially get a private money lender to fund the purchase of that and be a first lien of that. Whereas other situations, like we're buying a house for $400,000, not a lot of people have $400,000 just sitting around to like invest. So those bigger whales are a little bit harder to come by. So what we do is we'll structure a first mortgage with a hard money lender and then a second mortgage, second lien with a private money lender. Now you do have to get that kind of approved with your hard money lender, and there's ways kind of like we can talk offline, Francisco, but you need to structure with the right paperwork, the trust. The two main things you want to answer to your private money lender is what's in it for them, right? What kind of interest, what type of return on investment they're going to have, and then why they should trust you. That's why you need to have. I think we put this together. How many deals have you done now?
I've done 3 this year. I'm in Austin,
Okay.
Texas. Mm-hmm.
Cool, man. So we have this, I'm hoping this is done. Let me see if I could share this. Okay. It's called a credibility package here. And it just helps them kind of just to, can you guys see this?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So just something has some deals that we've done, some ugly dude there, some bio there, some core values, kind of just this cost us, I think, $100 to put together. Right, and some time and some effort. So if you've done 3 deals and they've all made money, then you need to put something like this together, so that way it can answer a lot of the questions for your private money lender, right? And so, I would just encourage you to like get something like that a little bit more professional. And then, yeah, dude, like some people say they're ready to invest and they get cold feet. So don't think just because someone has money they're willing to invest. Like when it comes to wiring that money, like people can have second thoughts. So I think we pay typically like 8 to 12% flat rate. It just depends on the size of the investment and the deal itself and the risk in the deal and whatnot. But it really has helped us scale, Francisco. So the quicker you start talking to people, and it's another skill, to be honest with you. Before this call, I spoke to maybe 4 or 5 of our private money lenders. Some of them already have money with us. Some of them are thinking about investing with us. And it's a skill to ask people to borrow money, just like it is a skill to find people that are motivated to sell the property at a discount. So you need to develop that skill if you want to continue to grow as an investor. And it just takes those at bats and asking people, posting about it. I don't enjoy like asking people to borrow money, but we're growing a business here, and I need to have a certain amount of liquidity myself to run the company and the business, and for all the payments we're making. So it is what it is. I think it's getting that credibility package going, reaching out to more and more people and getting uncomfortable and talking to people about it. And then answering that question for those people of like why they should trust you, and then what's in it for them through the conversations you're having. Do you want to add anything to that, Will, or did that help answer your question?
No, I think that was a great way of replying to it. Again, I think the big thing is making sure, like Alex said, like the lender knows what's in it for them. And when you're finding out which way to structure it, like we use our calculator. So we look at it one way and we go, okay, so if we were to bring in this lender, well, that lender last deal they gave us out in that area gave us 8.5 and 1 point or 1.25 points. So then we know, okay, well, if we were going to send this out to a private money lender, like we're going to pay this many points and this much interest to this person. So, if we were not going to do that, that other person would have to give us some better deal than that. Right. And that's typically what we're looking at is, hey, how can we get a better rate? And if our lender wants to do that, then we can do that.
So here's the shack that Will wants to buy. We were just looking at it last night. So 122,500, right? 250 ARV, $65,000 rehab. Francisco, do you use our calculator? Do you have access to it?
No, this is
Yeah.
new to me.
So send him or just are you part of our Facebook group?
No, not
It's
yet.
on the Facebook group. I just put the link in there right now.
Send that link, and then that way he can go in there, and then the calculator's there and there, and then we'll also get you I have a tutorial on it. But the quick and skinnies is like, okay, so this is the deal, right? And then in the interest section, so these are the points to the hard money lender, and then there's also the interest to the hard money lender. Now, if we were going to raise capital for this deal is looking like it's going to take about 24,500 for a down payment, and then if we don't get any of the rehab from the lender, from the hard money, then we would need essentially $91,000 to take this deal down. And in increments, we don't have to come all of it out of pocket. But so what we have done is what we're looking to raise. Okay, how much of this we want to raise? We're kind of advanced now, so we raised pretty much all of it. We don't have we have money across a lot of deals, but since we have many deals, like we don't have a lot of money on every single deal. So $91,000, right? So if you were going to pay someone, say you were going to, I don't know, raise $50,000 or $75,000 of this money, then $75,000 at 10%, $7,500 would be here. If we put in private money lender interest, if we were going to do that. Now we're looking for a 30% cash on cash or minimum of $35,000 for this price point. So it'd be a little bit shy, but if I'm going to use very little of my money and it's a good deal and everybody makes money, I'm cool. Like that I'm happy to pay this interest because I'm using $75,000 less of my money and I could do more deals. So it just kind of comes to a point where you're just figuring out what that is for you. How much capital you want to raise, how much people have, how much interest you want to pay. Maybe you don't have to pay as much interest. For us, we want our money partners to be with us in the long term, so we don't mind, sharing the profits in a way, right? But it doesn't need to make sense for everybody. I'm not if they wanted, say 15,000, then I wouldn't do that deal. That's too short. There's not enough profit in there. So is that helpful?
No, definitely. And it's just we did, like, I kind of just jumped the gun on this last deal, and I did bring like a private money lender because we got hard money, but he covered like the down payment, and I only brought maybe like 5K to the deal or less, but we actually agreed terms where we would split the profit. And I don't know why we did that, but we should have just approached it where, hey, we would give you percentage on the money that you give us, right?
Yeah,
that would probably be the smarter way.
Yeah, so you made a mistake in your negotiation. Let's just call it for what it is. Like you got out negotiated a little bit, you agreed to something and you want to honor your word. That's totally fine. I've done joint ventures, but in the future, Francisco, you just need to be better prepared for that conversation, because even for the example last night, someone offered me to lend me $50,000 at certain terms. I'm like, those terms don't work for me. Like, I appreciate the offer, but like, that's too expensive of money. I'm sorry. Like, I'm not going to take that deal. But
a year ago, wanted a 50% stake for an equity piece in the deal. And we were like, dude, I mean, like, for a piece of the deal, like 50 grand just doesn't even scrape making sense. Right.
Yeah. So exactly. That's what I told them. I'm like, I'm not going to give you 50% of profit for only 50,000 when we need 150,000 for this deal. That means I still have to come out of pocket 100,000 and give you half of the profit. Why would I do that? Like, I mean, I didn't say in those exact words, but you get my point. So just make sure that you're prepared for those, because those are high stakes, type of conversations. And now you left $10,000, $20,000 on the table. You want your partners to make money, but like appropriate to what the risks they're taking and the work they're going to do within the deal.
Yeah, it was very generous. So I mean, definitely learning experience, but no, I appreciate you showing me that calculator too.
Better take you to a fancy restaurant when that deal closes, brother.
For sure. Maybe buy me a watch. I don't know.
All right, guys. So
All
I
right,
think
thank you.
Any last questions? I don't mind going long. I mean, we got some stuff to work on. Will and I got a bunch of stuff to work on, but you guys have any last comments, questions, anything else you guys need before we?
Yeah, Will, I sent you a text on a property. Let me know. I could give you more details on it. It's in Tahunga. I have direct contact with the owner.
Okay. We love Tahunga's hot right now, so yeah, we're interested.
Hey, Alex, you going to be in Guadalajara in the next month or so?
Good question. Yeah, I'm probably gonna be there for New Year's and then the first week of the new year.
All right, I'll be out there for a whole month.
Hey,
Gotta
man.
do some New Year's due diligence down in Mexico, right?
bro, it's so inexpensive to have a good time, eat great food. Like, can you blame me? You know, my penthouse apartment's $1,100 a month, you guys.
Damn.
Yeah, dude. I live like at the Ritz-Carlton for like, you can't even rent a nice apartment in LA for $1,100. You know, so it's think like investors, guys. I'm looking for ROI. All right, my deal makers. Let's get
Guys,
it.
we'll see you on the next one of these. Whenever you guys see this post and it says it's a virtual open house, just know that like this is what these meetings are. So I mean, like if you have things that are holding you back, issues, come and be prepared on these, because this is when you can have 38 other people, you know, giving you feedback, or if you're really smart like Melvin over there, you know, you post your phone number, your Instagram account, something like that, and you get some people to connect with you that, you know, can help you connect the dots down the line. So we'll see you guys next week. We'll announce the guest that we have coming up here in a couple weeks after that, and we'll see you guys all on the flip side. All right.
Thank you, guys.
Peace.
Thanks, Alex. Cool.
See you guys.